Kristi Brower, and of course you are listening live here on 12radio.com, and I am so excited to be back with you. I can't believe it's 2017. This is my first show of the year, and I am live on Facebook Live in the Facebook chat. And sorry if you're watching the video, you're watching me fiddle with it, but I did some rearranging on my desk, and so now my cameras aren't doing exactly what I want them to do, but that's okay. I think they'll be all right. Oh, but I just want to invite you to join me in the chat room where you can find me on Facebook Live. So go to 12radio.com and click on the chat button, and that you will find me there. You will also find a post that was posted at the top of the page for my producer, Scott, from my producer, Scott. And so he posts my chat banner, and that is where we will chat. That's where I will take your questions and comments and requests and comments on what we're talking about today. I'd love to see you participating in the video as well, but those posts roll up, and so it's better if you comment on the chat banner, because I don't always see the posts on the other banner. But I just want to say that I'm excited to be back with you. I mean, it was nice to have a little time off, but I missed you, and I'm ready to be back and ready to roll. I've been thinking a lot about this year and about how to theme it. I just tipped over one of my cameras because I don't know, they just don't want to participate with me today. There we go. Okay, I think I got it fixed now. You know, thinking a lot about 2017. You know, we talk always at the end of a year, we talk about, oh man, I'm ready to be done with this year. I want to move on to something else. And we're all like that, you know. We want some change. We want something different. We want it to be a different theme. We want it to be, you know, the things that didn't work out in the year before, we want them to work out in this year. You know, I mean, there's all of that happening. So I've been thinking a lot about all of that and where to go with it. And so I've chosen a theme for the month of January that I think really applies to all of us. And if you read my Power Peak article, then you know that my theme for January is resilience. And so resilience really is the ability to bounce back, come back to normal, recover quickly from any kind of a jarring event. And so it can be small things like, you know, somebody being mad at you or being rude to you or, you know, accusing you of something or whatever, you know, just little stuff. Or it can be a big event. It can be a big trauma. Learning to be resilient, learning to recover and come back to yourself is a skill. It is a skill that some of us developed in childhood, if we had parents who taught it, if we had parents who were resilient themselves and really did understand the concept of resilience, then we were lucky. We developed those skills. Some of us didn't, because we didn't grow up in that way, or we didn't have that example in childhood. And maybe at some point in your life you lost some of your resilience because maybe you took a few too many hits. And coming back from or recovering from some kind of a challenge is, harder now than it used to be. A lot of people describe 2016 as a really bad year. I kind of think that ends up happening a lot. I sort of hear that at the end of a lot of years. But there were a lot of things kind of near the end of 2016 there were a lot of things throughout the year, but the end of the year was pretty challenging in a lot of ways for a lot of people. And so I feel like one of the things I really want to focus on is developing resilience in all of us. How do we bounce back from the hard stuff? How do we come back to center and come back to ourselves and not get so thrown off that we really lose who we are? That's entirely possible. That's something that I think is, number one, is the key to discuss, is that resilience is possible. Resilience does happen. We can be resilient, all of us. We can learn that. There are a lot of different elements to resilience, and so that's what I talked about in my Power Peak article, that I'm going to hit a bunch of different areas of resilience in this month. So today we're going to talk about thoughts and how our thinking affects resilience. Then next week we're going to talk about emotions, and then after that we're going to talk about support, after that energy, and after that meaning. So these are 5 areas that I'm going to hit on that I think really impact resilience for us, and talk about ways to become more resilient in all of those areas and how those areas really impact our ability to be resilient. So just wanted to tell you that's kind of where I'm headed for the month of January, and then we'll see where things go from there. I don't want to pick one theme for the entire year of January, or the year of 2017, not month of January. I don't want to pick a theme for that whole year, because too much will happen, too much will change to pick a theme for the whole year. So I think we're just going to go month by month. We're going to start with resilience, and we're going to see where that goes. So the other thing that I did is I did pick a stone for the year, because, and obviously we have a stone of the week as well. It doesn't have to be a stone of the year necessarily, but I did pick a stone that I feel like really clearly represents resilience, as a way to start us out. And that stone is Tibetan quartz. So I'm going to show you on the video, and I'll post the postcard. These are some pieces of Tibetan quartz I'm holding on the video. Tibetan quartz is not a beautiful stone. It's not a beautiful quartz even, really. It's it looks a little haggard. It looks a little beat up, actually. Tibetan quartz is a clear quartz, but it always has some black inclusions in it, and a lot of times it's not very shiny and has some dinged up edges. And that's the thing that I love about Tibetan quartz, is that it's been through the ringer. When you look at it, it looks like a stone that's been through a lot. I think that it's been in the ground a long time, and it's experienced a lot of things. Well, when it's experienced a lot of things, it's developed a lot of wisdom. It has developed a lot of knowledge, right? That's who we are. And that's what, when we can look at our lives from that perspective, we can see our experiences in a completely different way. When you look at your life and you think, okay, everything that I've been through, everything that I've lived through and developed through has made me stronger, has made me who I am, has developed more in me. I truly believe that is when you can develop resilience. You can use your experiences as a way to bounce back and be stronger. Okay? So I did feel like Tibetan quartz was the perfect stone to represent that for us. Mary in the chat says it's raw and real. It is. It's very raw and real. It is not a stone that is polished and beautiful and been modified in any way. It came out of the ground like this. It went through all that rough stuff to come up out of the ground. Just like we do. Just like we do. So I'm going to post in the chat really quickly my picture of Tibetan quartz, my postcard of Tibetan quartz. One of the things I like about Tibetan quartz is that it balances the root and the crown. So it is a stone that it's a clear quartz, but it has some black inclusions in it. And because it does, it balances both ends of the energy body. And when you balance both ends of the energy body, you bring about a sense of calm in the mind and stability in the root. And that's what we need to be resilient. We need to feel calm. We need to feel stable. We need to be in control of our thoughts, and we need to be grounded and centered in order to be resilient, right? So this is a great stone for that. Here's another little piece of Tibetan quartz. I love Tibetan quartz, so I have a whole bunch of pieces of it. These are just a few. I thought, well, I don't have to show you all of them, but I love Tibetan quartz. It's a piece that I carry Tibetan quartz quite a bit with me because I love the energy of it. I love the support of it. It is something that I really feel grounded by and centered by and supported by. And so that's why it's a stone I wanted to share with you and why it's the stone of the year. So we're going to do a meditation, and then we're going to get into all of this more deeply. So we're going to do, oh, of course, my all of technology is working against me today. Maybe it's because I haven't been live for a couple of weeks, and so I'm I'm a little off. I don't know. Okay, so Scott, if you'll go ahead and cue up my meditation music, we're going to do the Calm Mind meditation, because today, of course, we're talking about developing resilience through our thinking. So let's start with a calm mind meditation. So close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Allow your body to settle and your mind to go quiet. Now bring your attention to your conscious mind. Feel the constant motion in your mind. And take a few moments to observe your thoughts. Now, see your conscious mind as a ball of electric purple energy. See it crackle with all of that extra energy in there, all of those thoughts that are just racing around in there. Now, take hold of that consciousness and draw it down through your energy body and into your heart. And allow the energy of your conscious mind to settle into a pool of calm, green energy in your heart. And feel your consciousness go quiet. Feel all that crackling energy settle. And rest here as your mind is soothed and healed. And when the energy ball that is your consciousness turns to a pale lavender instead of that electric purple, you're ready to return your consciousness back up into your mind where it normally sits. So draw your consciousness up your body and back into your mind. And observe that new state of peace and calm in your mind. See how drawing your mind down into your heart, changing your perspective, settles your thinking, relaxes your mind. And now, when you're ready, take 3 deep breaths. And open your eyes. All right, so that's a really good way to start this conversation about resilience and thinking. First of all, we need a calm mind. So it's important to develop some skills for calming your thoughts. One of the skills that I want to talk about today is called thought stopping. And thought stopping is it's a technique used by therapists when working with people with post-traumatic stress disorder. So somebody who has repetitive traumatic thoughts, so thoughts that are flashbacks of past bad experiences, often are taught this skill, and this may be a simplified version of it, but the gist of it is you become intentionally aware of your thinking. So some of that takes some observation, and start to notice, what thoughts do you have that are repetitive and that as they repeat build up a sense of fear, build up a sense of anxiety, really mess with your sense of calm. So if you've got thoughts that just don't go away, that you're constantly dealing with, that sort of escalate your emotional state, and maybe they're thoughts about your past, maybe they're worries about money or other situations in your life, but they're thoughts that are repetitive that seem to not go away. So first you have to identify what they are. And then you take the step that might seem rather revolutionary, of taking control of your thoughts. Now, we really can do that. And it's not easy, and it's not something that we've necessarily been trained to do. But you can stop a thought. In the moment as it's happening, you in your mind, or even out loud if it feels better to you, say stop. Stop the thought. Now choose your next one. So your next thought then needs to be a positive thought, a thought that helps to undo whatever emotional or energetic instability that thought was causing that you stopped. So you can, sometimes in thought stopping, they choose a really positive thing like a memory, like you choose a positive memory to think about. Or you could use an affirmation like, I am safe, all is well, I have everything I need. You could choose an affirmation like that. Whatever you do, you want to choose a positive thought to take the place of that thought that was messing with your emotional calm and with your energetic calm. So thought stopping is a really powerful practice. It takes practice to become intentional about it. But if you have thoughts that are bothering you, you can take control of them and start replacing them. Stop them. So it's almost like hitting stop on your MP3 player, stop it. And then when you hit play, you're not really hitting play, you're hitting advance to the next song or advance to the next thought. And that thought you choose. So stop it and then advance to the next one and make it something that you choose that helps you to feel more stable. Maybe you choose to have a thought about what you are most grateful for today. That shifts you into a great place of positivity. Maybe it's just a picture in your head. Maybe it's a thinking about, like the pictures I post on Facebook all the time of my two little dogs on the couch snuggled up in their blanket. Maybe I think of that for a minute, maybe I think of them. Those are all ways that you can shift your thinking. Our thoughts are very powerful. Our thoughts control our reality much more than we realize. And they control our energy bodies, and they control what we put out into the world. Therefore, they do control to some extent what we draw back. So getting a handle on our thoughts is a very big key to resilience. When you are constantly shaken by what you're thinking, you can never move beyond that. And so stopping and consciously choosing. And, at first, you might have to do it a whole bunch of times a day. Over time, you're actually shifting your habit. You're changing what you regularly think about to more positive things. You're shifting your thinking to a more positive habit. So over time, you won't need it as much. And you'll find that some of those thoughts that have come up after you stop them a bunch of times, you break the habit of that thought. So whether it's a negative thought, it's a traumatic thought, it's a worried thought that's repetitive, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If it's a thought that affects your sense of stability and internal calm, then it is a thought that is affecting your ability to be resilient. So if it's a thought about something that's happened in the past that you can't seem to let go of and move on from, that's a big problem, right? Because that affects your sense of resilience. You're not bouncing back from that experience because you're continuing to replay it in your mind. So that's how this all connects up. Stop the thoughts in order to allow yourself to be more resilient. So I did that's energy tip number 20. I'm going to post that in the chat right now. Sorry. Okay. My computer is really slow today. I guess it says it's not quite ready to be back from vacation. Okay, so energy tip number 20, resilience in thinking. Be a good steward of your thoughts. Practice awareness of what you think about and how that affects your sense of calm. Use thought stopping to intentionally stop thoughts that are unsettling and replace them with thoughts that you choose. So it really is a matter of intention. Press the stop button, advance to the next thought, and make sure that is the thought that you chose. This is a great way to develop resilience. No longer allowing your thoughts to keep you stuck in experiences and not allowing you to recover and to return to your sense of inner calm. I like to think about my inner peace meditation is all about this whole concept as well. So it's the idea that you throw a pebble in a pond. You see the pond become affected, right? All of the ripples come out from the pebble, and then the pond returns to calm. You throw the pebble, the pond has its experience, and then it's over. And it's not like 15 minutes later that pond is going to have ripples in it again from those pebbles, is it? It's not. It's not going to go back to that spot. Ita says, is that overriding what we are really feeling, though? No, it is definitely not. It is acknowledging what you're feeling and then moving on from it. You don't have to stay stuck in the same thought for a long time. Now, we're not really talking about feelings today. That's next week. We're going to talk about emotions and how all this plays in. It's fine to acknowledge the thought, but if it continues to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat, what good is that doing you? It's not doing you any good at all to continually repeat the same thinking over and over again. And we all do it, right? I mean, we've all got those repetitive thoughts that are going on in our heads that's like putting a song on repeat. Over and over and over again, there's something that goes around and around and around in the back of your head. Probably, we all do that. So this is about recognizing those repetitive patterns in your thinking and stopping them. Make a new choice. Isn't that trying to tell you something's off? No, it definitely isn't. Repetitive thoughts are not intuition, and that is something that I think that we all make a big mistake about. That if we think about something over and over again, or if we fear something over and over again, that's because it's going to happen. It's false. That is not true. We really don't process intuition with our thoughts. We process intuition with our bodies. It's what we feel inside of ourselves that is intuitive. It's not what we think. What we think is an illusion a lot. But no, that is not trying to tell us that something's off. So, oh good, Edith says, got it. Yeah, so there's the difference there. So this is not in any way about discounting your experiences, but it is about taking control of your thinking and recognizing that you are, in fact, in charge of your thoughts. We all have a tendency, I think, to feel like we're just sort of at the mercy of thoughts. And it's not really true. We are, in a way, kind of at the mercy of emotions in that they are something that just occur. And it is our response to them that we have control over. We can't really change how we feel about something. It's what we do with that information. Thoughts are a little bit different. The thoughts that continue to repeat inside of us, they started with us to begin with. They came from us. We started those thoughts, and sometimes they get put on repeat. And they really affect our ability to move on from something. Have you ever had an experience with a person that you just cannot let go of, and you think about it over and over and over again, and you analyze it, and you think through the entire thing and everything they said and everything that you said over and over and over again? Well, you see how that is impacting your ability to be resilient? How are you returning to your own state of inner calm if you're continuing to repeat that experience over and over again inside of yourself? Make sense? So this is making a choice to stop that, stop the thought, and move on. Because here's the thing. Most of what we think about is either in the past or it hasn't happened yet. Neither of those two things do we really have any control over at all. They've either already happened, we can't change them, or they haven't happened yet, and still, we can't change them. We can prepare for them, we can be aware, but does that mean that thinking and thinking and thinking about something will keep it from happening, or make it happen? Not necessarily. It doesn't really give us any kind of control. All we are in control of is this very moment right now. So that's how you're in control of your thoughts, is that you can say and stop, I'm not doing this. I'm not thinking about this anymore. I'm done thinking about this. I had to use this practice after the passing of both of my parents, I had some very disturbing images in my head of them in their caskets after they passed away. We are weird as humans, I think, in that we have to look at people after they've died. And, we had a viewing, which meant that we had to stand next to their caskets for hours greeting people. That was a hard thing for me. And I had some intrusive thoughts for a while of what they looked like in their caskets. And that was very upsetting for me. And so I used thought stopping to stop that from happening. It doesn't happen anymore. I don't have intrusive thoughts about what they looked like at that time. I can even talk about it without it triggering it again. And it was thought stopping that helped me to do that. I intentionally stopped the thought, said, no, it does me absolutely no good to think about this or remember it or relive it, because thoughts then kick off a sense of emotions, or not a sense of, but it's can set off a set of emotions and physical responses depending on what you're working with. And that was hard for me. I didn't do very well with that, with those experiences. And so I needed a way to stop those thoughts. And I have. I can even talk about it now. And that doesn't mean that those will start back up for me. They won't. Because I've trained my brain. I don't want to think about that. It doesn't do me any good. It doesn't change anything. And so I am in much better position to continue moving forward with my life and in a positive way, and being more resilient from their passing by not doing that, right? By not having those thoughts. So I used thought stopping to stop them. I also have always been a person to replay situations in my mind and replay what they said, what I said, what I could have done differently, whatever. Also, doesn't really help me. It doesn't help me move on from something that bothered me or that I struggled with if I'm still feeling all of that, or if I'm still thinking all of that. And so using thought stopping is something that really has helped me over time. And, you'll find that you get really good at it, that you can stop a thought and you're done with it and you move on. And it doesn't mean that you have to stop it several times. At the beginning, you're going to find that you'll stop a thought and choose the next one and move on. And then that thought might weasel its way back in and you may have to do it again. Edith says it's all about being present. And it is. It is all about being present. It's all about just being in this moment. And, by shifting your thinking and your focus to right now and what's going on right now, really helps you to be more resilient, because you're not stuck in the past and you're not trying to predict a future that you don't necessarily have control over. So it's a really useful tool, and it is a very important part of becoming resilient. Now, resilience has a lot of different aspects, and so that's why I wanted to hit it for the entire month of January, because I don't think that I could do it justice in one show. I feel like I want to hit all of the areas, and we'll talk about, on the last Monday of January, we'll talk about meaning, and then we'll kind of talk about putting it all together, and we'll have this toolbox of 5 different areas with some skills that help to develop resilience. We can recover from anything. We really can. And you probably already have. That's one thing that I know about us that we tend to not give ourselves enough credit for, is that likely you have already developed a significant amount of resilience in yourself in some area of your life that you recovered from a huge loss or a big trauma at some point in your life. You have done it before. But we have a tendency to forget as humans how we did it or what we did. We also change and grow, and so sometimes what used to work for us doesn't work for us anymore. And so it's important to address questions like this and issues like this periodically. And, for me, I read the energy of the collective in a bunch of different ways and ask, what do we need to work on? Where are we at? What have we developed? Last year, my stone of the year was ametrine, and it was ametrine because ametrine is a stone that connects the solar plexus and the third eye, and it has a great impact on intuition. The more you trust yourself, the stronger your intuition becomes. I feel like I watched a lot of growth in a lot of people in that area of trusting yourself and trusting your intuition. A lot of really good things happened with that in 2016. And so now I'm moving on to this idea of resilience. And I think resilience will then branch out into some other things. But it's where we need to start. I've seen a lot of people lamenting things that have happened already and being stuck in them and having difficulty moving forward from various events that have happened in the last few months. And that's what really inspired me to talk about this issue. I have experienced resilience to various degrees in my life multiple times. I think about one thing that happened to me when I was 20 years old. I was in a car accident. So I was living in Utah, getting residency because I was going to go to college there. My first 2 years of college, junior college, I was a music major. I played the clarinet. I had planned to be a music teacher. I was going to get a degree in music education and performing in fine arts. Well, I moved to Utah to get residency. I needed to work and live there for 6 months to get residency, and then I had a music scholarship, and so I had all this plan, right? Well, I got into a car accident, and in the car accident, I had a shoulder and neck injury. And if you know anything about the clarinet, the injury was in my right shoulder and my neck. And I got to a point where I was not able to actually hold my instrument up. Like, you hold the clarinet balances on your right thumb. And if you can't hold your instrument, how are you going to play your instrument? It was a huge shift in my life. I ended up moving home after the accident. I dropped out of school. I let my scholarship go. I was not physically able to hold my instrument. I couldn't practice. There was no way I was going to be able to perform. It took a long time for that shoulder and neck to heal. It changed the direction of my life completely. It was a time where I learned a lot about resilience because my whole plan, what I was going to do, where I was headed, fell apart after that accident. I ended up going to a different university and getting a completely different degree. I got a degree in social work. It changed the direction of my life completely. It took some time to adjust to that. And I definitely went through a period of repetitive thinking about, the accident itself, how it changed my life, how it messed everything up for me. I lost my scholarship. I got stuck in all of that. And I learned a lot through that experience about how to come back from an earth-shattering experience. It really was an earth-shattering, life-changing experience. And I've had others, as I'm sure you have. But it was probably the first big event that happened to me as an adult. And I had a plan and a direction for myself in college for a long time. And so I never had really considered doing anything else. All the way through my first 2 years of college, I was going to be a music major. I was going to be a music teacher. That was my plan. That had been my plan in high school as well. And so to have to consider that this is not going to happen for me, I have to go another way, really shook me up. It took me a couple of years to recover from that. I went back to college. I started at a different university about a year. Maybe it was more like 18 months. So it took about 18 months for me to actually then get back in school and, find a new direction. I learned a lot about resilience and recovery from that because I was only 20 when it happened. I couldn't let it just impact the entire rest of my life. I had to find a new direction, make a new choice, move forward, and I had to learn how to recover from the really troubling emotional and part of it, the thoughts, all that stuff that really impacted me. I had to find a way to get through it. And of course I had a lot of support, lots of family and friends and, people that were there for me that assisted me through it. I didn't do it alone, but I learned a lot about resilience from that experience. And so that plus other experiences throughout my life is where I'm drawing from this information. And then also from what I have watched other people do, because I've watched some people go through some tremendously difficult times and recover and move on and keep on trucking and find a way to return to yourself after a really challenging experience. And I think we all have to do it. That is a key to being successful and happy in this life. Okay, so I want to see what you all have to say in the chat. I will be doing some readings and some clearings in the chat, and I wanted to check on what you all have to say. But I did also want to share with you, I have a little special for you for this week. It did come out in my newsletter, but if you don't get my newsletter, you can get it here. So for this week, my email reading special is a 2017 energy overview. So it's an email reading. You can choose 4 areas of your life that you want me to take a look at and just do a general read of what is the energy of this area for 2017. So kind of what's the overarching theme? What maybe do you need to work on? What's maybe coming, what's going to be positive, what is going to need to change, that kind of thing. So you can choose 4 life areas. I made some suggestions, but it can be anything. So you can look at relationships, money, career, family, spirituality, education, inner peace, self-esteem, personal growth, or anything else that you want. So you choose 4 areas in order to do that. And I will give you an overview of what those look like. So that's my special for for the beginning of 2017. So this reading will be available throughout the month of January. If you're interested in, if you've got some things that you think there's going to be some transition this year, or some areas you're really focusing on that you're not sure what to expect from, this is a great way to get some direction about that. I like that it's an email reading because it gives you an opportunity then to go back and refer to it over time, because obviously it's a reading that's going to have some impact over a significant amount of the year, and so that's why I did it as an email reading, so that you have it. It's written down. You can go back and review. So I wanted to share that with you. Let's see. Oh, Norella says, I missed everyone and realized I released the unnecessary and left it in 2016. Good. I'm glad that you did. It's a really important time of year to identify what do you want to bring along with you into this year, and what do you really want to just leave behind and allow it to be a part of your past, and it doesn't have to be a part of your present anymore. And that's one of the things that I always evaluate this time of year as well. So I'm glad that you did, Norella, and I'm glad to be back. I know it's weird. We're so used to being here, and then to be gone for a little while. That's weird. It's weird. If you're used to being on live radio, and your showtime comes and we're not on the air, you sort of feel guilty, or you feel like you get panicky, like I'm supposed to be somewhere. I'm supposed to be doing something. So it's nice to be back. Mary says, I love this idea at a crossroads. Move, family, money, and career. Great gift. Yeah, see? So that email reading would be great because we could look at all those areas. Alishaya says, can so relate resilience. Have always bounced back somehow. Don't even know how. Can think of many instances where the rug was pulled out from me. Awesome. And you know what that means, Alishaya, is that you, at some point in your life, developed some skills as far as resilience is concerned. I think it's an area that we can all always work on and benefit from developing further. But I know that some of us are naturally a little more resilient than others. And I do think that that came from our upbringing. I think if we were raised by parents who were resilient, or if we were raised by people who weren't resilient, and if we were taught that, I live in Idaho. This is a very pull yourself up by your bootstraps and keep on going kind of place. I think that a lot of my resilience came from that you just didn't have a choice. Where I live, that's what people do. You just keep on going. And I live in a fairly rural place. I live in a place where we get a lot of snow in the wintertime, where we get sub-zero weather. We're getting more sub-zero this week. We're supposed to have super cold, like 20 below kind of weather. Well, when you live in a place like that, you learn a lot of resilience because you have to survive. And I think that helped me as an adult. I really do. I'm grateful for those experiences because I have learned how to recover from a lot of things just from where I've grown up. And so it is sort of the attitude of this place. Yeah. Oh, Mary says, so true. She's coming from Utah, and same kind of idea. So I think it has a lot to do with the way that you were, that you witnessed adults in your life recover from things, and then also just sort of the overarching theme of your community and your, if you grew up, your school, your church, whoever, whoever had influence in your life, those folks either taught you to be resilient or not. Okay, let's see, and I'll get to some more comments in the chat. Sorry, everything is moving a little slow. Kristi says, such great information today. Looking forward to a whole month of learning about resilience. Good. I'm glad. I was hoping that this topic would hit with you. I really figured that it would, because pretty much always there's going to be a group of people experiencing the same thing. When I take a look at the collective energy, I feel like there's always going to be a pretty large group of people having a similar experience. Norella says that although she left a lot of things in 2017 or 2016, she didn't quite get it all, and so she would like a clearing. So I'll come back to that in a minute. Norella will definitely do that. And Laura would also love one of those. Let's see. Erica says she's just listening, wanted to stop by and say hello to her 1-2 fam and me, that she missed us, wishing us a happy 2017. Thank you so much, Erica, and thanks for being here. We missed you too. I'm glad you're here. Oh, Quelly also needs a clearing and scan. Her daughter came home from the Navy sick with a cold and gave it to her. Yeah. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a group clearing, because it seems like maybe everybody needs that. Maybe whatever residual energy we did not leave behind in 2016, let's clear it up right now so that we don't have to carry it any further into this year. So let's just do this together as a group. So everybody close your eyes. And just take a couple of deep breaths and settle into your seat. Bring your attention to your root chakra that's sitting at the base of your spine. Your root chakra runs all the way down your legs to the bottoms of your feet and is the foundation of your energy body. So it's a very important chakra when it comes to resilience and when it comes to stability. For many of us, this time of year can be a bit destabilizing for the root for lots of reasons. So we're going to make sure that that root is sitting right in the center of your body. And if you feel yours off to the right or the left, we're just going to shift it. Just pull it over and bring it into the center of your body. Move that energy center back over to the base of your spine. And just feel that energy vibrate there for a minute or two. It's going to feel that root settle. Now we're going to drop our root cords out of the bottoms of our feet, deep down to the center of the earth. We're going to ask the spirit of the earth, the goddess Gaia, to take a strong connection with us, to make a strong connection with us, to grab hold of those root cords, grounding us and centering us, connecting us to the energy of the earth, reconnecting us to the physical energy that we need to function. And now we're going to draw that earth's energy up through our root cords, up through the bottoms of our feet, all the way up our legs, and feel it center and settle in the root chakra. Feel that root chakra right in the center of your body. Okay, and now we're going to use the root chakra energy to clear us of anything that no longer serves us. So in any area of our energy bodies, there can sit some stagnant energy, and that's energy that no longer functions, it no longer moves, it no longer serves its purpose in us. So we're going to draw this root chakra energy all the way up through our energy bodies. And as we draw it up, it's going to push up toward our crowns any stagnant energy that's left over in any area of our energy bodies. And we're going to push it all up, and then we're going to clear it out the crowns of our heads. So we're going to draw that root energy up into the sacral chakra, pushing up above it any stagnant energy that may be present in the sacral chakra or in that area of your body. Pushing that energy up again to the solar plexus. Gathering up any stagnant energy, anything that doesn't serve you, and pushing it up into the heart. Again, we're just going to gather up anything that doesn't serve us. Ooh, boy, feel a lot of heart energy that still needs to be released from this group as I'm sensing myself and all of you in my energy body. Okay, we're going to push all that heart energy up into the throat. Remember, we're just pushing all this energy up because we're going to clear it out the crown of the head. And then up into the throat and up into the third eye. Now I want you to just for a moment visualize your crown chakra like a beautiful flower on the top of your head. We're going to allow that flower to open and bloom, and as it opens and blooms, we're going to push that root chakra energy up and out the flower, out the top of your head, releasing all that stagnant energy up to the universe to be cleared and transmuted, and that we will be released from it in all directions of time. So you just feel that energy. So you want to just repeat that cycle. So we call this energy breathing. And so with energy breathing, you're just going to take a breath in, drawing in energy, life force energy up through you, your earth's energy, all the way up through you, pushing out any stagnant energy and breathing it out the top of your head. So breathe in, draw it up. Breathe out, push it out. Breathe in, draw it up. Breathe out, push it out. Do it again. Breathe in. And breathe out. And one more. Breathe in. And breathe out. Very good. Very good. That is releasing all kinds of stuff that doesn't serve us. We've released all kinds of energy that has been stuck in the energy body, that stagnant energy. That is kind of an expanded version of my energy breathing meditation. Just a reminder that all of my meditations are available for free download on my website, which is kristibrower.com. So I just take the meditations that we've done here on the show, and they're not exactly professional recordings because some of them have my dogs barking in the background and various things. I've just clipped them out of my show and put them on my website so that you can download them to use them, because I think they're very valuable, useful pieces of energetic skill, different skills to use as far as being able to clear yourself, balance yourself, bring yourself back to a positive state, get yourself back in a place of gratitude, to manage some of your emotions. So it's a great way to do all of that. So I just want to encourage you to check out those meditations and download any of them that you would like. One of my goals for 2017 is to be here for you more and be here at One to listen more. I made a big change, as you know, last year, and we sold our metaphysical store and spiritual center. I've moved my whole practice home. I feel like I needed a couple of months to recover. That was a huge, huge change after doing that work for 9 years and being there in my store every day. And now that I don't do that and I'm home, I am available much more. But it's been, I feel like I kind of needed a recovery period. And now I've come through that. And so you're going to find me available at One to Listen every single day. You're going to see me there a lot more. So the things that we talk about here on the radio, the skills that we practice, of course, I can go much more deeply into those things with you one-on-one on the phone than I can here on the radio and with all of us together. So I want to encourage you to take what you've learned here. If some of it really you feel like you need to go further with it, the best way to do that is to find me over at One to Listen and give me a call. And we're going to work on all kinds of stuff this year. So I'm really excited about 2017. I feel like we learned some things about our world in 2016 that maybe we didn't know were still an issue. Maybe there were some things going on that we didn't realize were really there. And they were brought into the light in 2016 so that we can see them. That means we can change them. And so 2017 is a real boots on the ground kind of year. If there were things that came to light in 2016 that you didn't necessarily know really still existed in our world and you want to change them, this is the year to do that. And we have to start with resilience first, a recovery of who we really are in order to be able to move forward and do those things. That's why I wanted to start with resilience, but we're going to move on to other skills in order to give you the opportunity to work on making changes on this planet in ways that you want to. That's a big part of it. It's not so much about changing ourselves. I think it's more about changing us on a collective level now. So we're going to look at all of that in lots of different ways. And I'm so excited to be here with you. I think there is so much coming this year. Mayor Chris said, I started this year feeling super anxious about the future. Any thoughts on that? Well, what I think first, Mayor Chris, is that I want you to try using the thought stopping technique and stop the anxiety and then choose to think about what do you want to bring forward in your life in 2017. What can you do? What do you have control over? What do you want to bring forward? Because that sense of anxiety about things that we don't have any control over is very uncomfortable. It's also very useless. It does not help us. So use the thought stopping to stop that anxious thought and then choose to think about what you want to bring into 2017, Mary Chris. I want you to try that and see how that does for you. Maria says, thank you for the clearing. A beautiful new year to you and to you as well. And I hope that clearing was beneficial for all of you. It seemed like everybody that was requesting a healing or a clearing in the chat needed kind of the same thing. And so I thought, well, let's just do it as a group. Maybe that's a better way to go with it. So I hope that you enjoyed that and that was helpful. Oh, I love, Lara posted in the chat a graphic of a little daisy blooming up through a crack in a piece of wood, and it says, 2017, let's expect miracles. I agree. That has a lot to do with what I'm talking about today. When you stop those thoughts and you change it to a positive thought, instead of expecting bad things to happen, instead of preparing for the worst, we're shifting our thinking to the positives, what we're grateful for, what we're bringing forward in this life, what we have control over, what we are going to do, what we want, rather than that very nebulous fear and worry and anxiety that a lot of us have experienced that doesn't help us in any way. This is another way to look at that. So I want you to try that thought stopping. I'm really curious to hear how you do with it. Feel free to message me if you have questions about it. Of course, you can do that at my website, KristiBrower.com. You can message me there, or my Facebook page, Kristi A. Brower. Either place, you can contact me if you're trying the thought stopping, if you have a question about it, or of course you can call me over at Once You Listen and we can work on it. But it is a great little skill to just become a good steward of your thoughts, to become very aware of your thinking and what's going on in there and what your mind is telling you versus what you really want to be focusing on. So you can stop the thoughts that are shaking your sense of safety, shaking your sense of calm, and choose where you go from there. It doesn't mean be irrational. It doesn't mean avoid your problems or ignore things that need to be dealt with. This is the repetitive stuff. A lot of it is about the past. A lot of it is the repetitive thinking about the past that we can't do anything about. We can't change it. We're beyond that now. And so stopping those thoughts and working to focus on things we can choose to do now, changes we can make, definitely a much better way to go. Wouldn't you say? All right. It's so nice to see so many of you in the chat and so many of you on the video. It's really nice to be back with you guys. And I'm looking forward to lots more fun and growth and conversation. I love being on 1-2 Radio, and I'm looking forward to more and more of that throughout this year. So I have run out of time, but I want to say thank you so much for being here. And please remember to stay tuned. We have lots of great live programming coming up after me. Is the Keys to Awakening with Velvet Dawn. Then we have Alita's Audacity, and then we have Kathleen Peterson and Friends. And as always, thanks for listening to 1-2 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.